クロードするのか？
quick load. Don't know how to change that. So, Ageha said good morning. Early in the morning, the doorbell chimed, so I went to open it, and there I saw Ageha. What are you doing here?
本当に寮母さんやってるんだ。
She remarked as she saw me wearing an apron.
ここってさ、魔女の館だよね。うちの学生寮だったんだ。
Ageha focused on the word student dormitory as if questioning their suitability, and gazed at the magnificent entrance. I was surprised too, to think that I would become the caretaker of this place that we used to sneak into when we were kids.
いいなぁ。私も住みたいかも。だってさ、葵と一緒だったら絶対楽しいもんね。
Why did you come here? I asked while guessing that perhaps she'd come to invite me to walk to school with her. She is, after all, my number one best friend.
おっと、そうだった。ハバネさんを誘いに来たの。
I was wrong. Miss Alul.
ビューチーさん？
Ah, no, it's nothing. While blushing due to the misunderstanding, I looked back towards Katori's room. Looked like she still hasn't woken up yet. Even if she gets up now and takes her time eating breakfast, she can still make it with time to spare.
そっか。じゃあ待たせてもらおっかな。ごちそうさま。
There's still some left.
悪いけど朝からこんないっぱい食べれないって。
You're joking, right? I only gave you a little bit.
運動部の子でも朝からこんな山盛りのナポリタン食べないよ。
Oh, yeah, I guess. Kinda go eat the whole thing again this morning, though. How was the taste?
美味しかったよ。
Really?
うん、ほんと。量が多いから途中で飽きてきたけど。
With good food, it tastes good no matter how much you eat.
あんたの味覚って昔っから大雑把よね。
An unrefined palate. The shock hit me like a bolt of lightning. I hung my head in dismay.
なんでそんなショック受けてんの？
The truth is, Kay had revealed the reason why. Since yesterday, the boarders hadn't been eating my cooking properly. I thought I'd ask her opinion, which is why I made Ageha some food and got her to eat it. It was made from leftover ingredients anyway.
朝から生姜焼きとかナポリタンとか果てしなく女子受けしなさそうなメニューね。もっとこう爽やかなのはないの？パスタにしてもトマトソース系とか和風にするとかさ。
Cooking for girls is so difficult. Boy or girl, we're all human. Tasty is tasty. That's what I believed. Just as I was seriously troubled by this, I heard the squeaking of turning wheels coming from down the hallway. First, Hat the Duck came into the dining hall, then Katori came in after him. It's the opposite to the usual.
なんで私が。
Katori rubbed her sleepy eyes and started preparing Hat's food. It somehow looked as if the hungry Hat had woken her up.
さあ、たらふく食って太りなさい。そのうち私があんたを食べてやるんだから。カカー。
Not understanding her words, Hat quacks happily as Katori speaks to him and eats his food.
アヒルだ。かわいい。
Katori notices that Ageha is here and instantly opens up her eyes.
これコールダックだよね。テレビの CM で見たことある。ハバネさんが飼ってるの？私の部屋に勝手に住み着いてるだけよ。あなたここで何してるの？ハバネさん最近ずっと休んでるから様子を見に来たんだ。先生にでも頼まれたのかしら？そういうんじゃないけど。ねえ、一緒に学校行かない？誰があんたなんかと。
Katori gave a humph. I made another one of those straight faces she's no good at.
でもあんまり休むと授業とか遅れちゃうし、あなたには関係ないでしょ？そうなんだけどね。 そうだよね。ごめん。誰も今日休むなんて言ってないじゃない。え？勘違いしないでね。あなたに言われたから行くわけじゃないのよ。じゃあ待ってるね。誰があなたと一緒に行くって言ったのよ。私は一人で登校します。
Katori said with a straight face, then turned her wheelchair around. Just as she was about to leave, she stopped the wheelchair and turned around.
あなたたち知り合いなの？
Huh? Yeah, we're childhood friends.
バカみたい。
Looks like she has even more of a bad attitude this morning. However, she did say she was going to go to school. After tidying up the breakfast things, I left the dormitory with the geha. On our way to school, somehow our conversation turned to Katori. Is there a reason why Katori stopped coming to school?
まあね。ハバネさんって足が不自由でしょ。2年で一緒のクラスになった時、時々話しかけるようにしてたんだ。
So, that's so like a geha to worry about that sort of thing. There are many people, if there are any people who don't really fit into the group or are left out, she just won't ignore them. In the past, that's what started to play with Mabo, so it could have been for the same reason.
けどハバネさんはあの調子でつっけんどんっていうか馴染む気がないみたいなんだよね。
Yeah, I can imagine that somehow.
そんな私とハバネさんのこと見てたクラスの子らがついに怒っちゃって、ハバネさんに物申したのが始まり。クラスの女子 vs ハバネさんの大喧嘩になっちゃって。
When Geha reminded herself of what happened back then, she warily slouched forward. Geha is cheerful and has many friends. Katori, who didn't really respond to Geha's concerns about her, might have been seen as the one in the wrong by those around them. Since then, she stopped coming to school?
そういうこと。いやー、あの時のハバネさんすごかったよ。クラスの女子全員を向こうに回して全然負けてなかったね。
The Geha is waving her arms around like someone from a kung fu movie and passionately tells the story. I decided not to ask her what kind of heroic deeds took place, or for any specific details. Well, I didn't expect that. Even just by saying something in a slightly harsh way, she gets all tearful.
なんでハバネさん、うちの学校に来たんだろう。だって授業も全然楽しそうじゃないし、友達も作ろうとしないし。
The only reason I could think of is that it might be because it had full disabled access. In fact, that could be the main reason.
ああ、なんかしてあげられることないかな。
Looking at Geha from the side as she puts her hands behind her head and starts thinking things over, I remember the withdrawal notice that I picked up last night. On the spur of the moment, I decided not to give it back and acted like I knew nothing about it. Is she really planning to drop out? It somehow felt like I'd picked some heavy piece of lost property. The two of us both made troubled faces as we walked. Murmur, murmur. A quite strange commotion surrounded us. Most of the other students around us on their way to school were looking in the same direction. Over there was a tall, slender, beautiful girl walking along. Oh, it's her. It was the girl I met in the garage. Everyone was looking at her with curiosity, but it seemed that she hadn't noticed that other people were looking at her. I was looking at her in the same way as everyone else, but Geha took the way I was looking in the wrong way.
ほうほう、さすがお目が高い。あの人はうちの学校の超有名人にして超留年生、望月天音先輩よ。
Super repeat student.
そう、もう何年も留年してるんだって。
What? Is she that stupid? She doesn't look like it though.
どっちかっていうと天才？成績トップとかそういう次元じゃなくて、先生ももう教えることは何もないっていうか、たまに教えてもらいに行ってるとかなんとか。
cleverer than the teachers. Does our school really deal in such specialized fields?
それなのになぜか卒業せず学校に居座ってるの。計画的に単位を落としてわざと留年してるんだって。本来規則で認められているよりも余分に留年してるから超留年生。けど珍しいな、朝の通学路で見かけるなんて。
I don't know if she's a genius or not, but she definitely seems like a pretty weird person. Then abruptly, super repeat student senior Amane Mochizuki stopped walking and looked at the sky. Everyone else mimicked her and looked up too. A jet plane flying through the blue sky, pulling its vapor trail along behind it. Everyone soon realized that it was a plane and quickly lost interest and started walking again. However, Amane Mochizuki kept on standing there, looking up at the plane flying high in the sky. When people came from behind and avoided her like she was in their way, she didn't pay any attention to them either.
Iko?
Sure. Katori arrived just as our morning homeroom class finished.
遅くなりました。
はばね、もう体調の方はいいのか？
はい、おかげさまで。
そうか、心配してたんだぞ。
Katori went past the homeroom teacher, who seemed bewildered that she had come back to school all of a sudden, then still in her wheelchair, arrived at her desk. The desk right at the front was the only one that didn't have a chair. The room looked on, puzzled.
私は動物園の動物じゃないわ。
Now that Katori was in school, she started her cool allure routine again. She concentrated during the lessons and answered the teacher's questions easily when asked. Seems like her grades in her regular subjects are top class. During recess, she sat at her desk, reading a book or going off somewhere. She didn't try to talk to anyone, and even if Ageha tried to speak to her, she acted like she hadn't noticed. The other girls in the class looked like they were worried about how they should treat her, and watched her from a distance. During gym class, the way she looked on, bored, left an impression on me. She always looked like she was all alone, and didn't seem to be enjoying herself very much. Hey, Katori. At lunchtime, I found Katori carrying her bag about to leave the classroom, and I chased her down the hallway. It's lunchtime, you know? What are you doing? Whoosh. Suddenly, Katori dashed away at an unbelievable speed. Well, hey! In the heat of the moment, I tried to chase her, but I thought I would bump into a passing student, and I was too slow to start moving. In the meantime, Katori had already gotten inside the elevator. According to the school rules, most students are not allowed to use the elevator. It was only supposed to be used by workers or teachers carrying big loads or disabled students, like Katori. Even so, I chased after her, only for the doors to close mercilessly in front of me. It's rude. Through the glass, the one with the self-proclaimed cool allure stuck her tongue out and headed to the floor below as I stood and watched. You're not getting away, I say as I run all the way down. I ran and I made it all the way to the school gates. She was holding her bag. It seemed like she was trying to leave early, so I went to cut her off. However, I can't deny the possibility that her lunch was in the bag. Maybe I got the wrong idea. If that's not it, then what could be the problem? I watched over the school gate like some guardian statue. Bam. I was crashed into by something in the back. In other words, from outside the school gates. Ah. Ouch. What was that? I got up and felt like I was crawling out from under an avalanche. Then I saw a big cardboard box and a girl that had fallen over. Are you okay? Oh, it's her. Oh. I looked at her as I got up without thinking. I thought I was going to say the super repeat student, but I held my tongue. I'm alright. As she says that, the super repeating super senior holds onto the big cardboard box. She went to lift it up, but then Senior Amane Mochizuki slumped down, exhausted.
空腹による一時的なパフォーマンスの低下が著しい。
I'll help you carry it. Huh? It's so heavy. The big cardboard box is incredibly heavy.
いいんだ。自分で運べるから。
Come on, it's no big deal. I said as I went to pick it up anyway.
ありがとう。
Is this okay here? Don't know what's in it, but we put the heavy cardboard box on the floor.
悪いな。手伝ってもらって。
It's alright. Anyway, Senior, if you're hungry... She was staring towards the inside of the garage. Senior? I found myself copying her and looking in the same direction. Inside was Kotori. What's she doing here? She's by the big thing placed in the center of the garage. I was trying to lift up the sheet to see what's underneath.
それに興味があるのかい?
Kotori is surprised when Amane speaks to her. Kotori seems intimidated and nods. Amane vigorously pulls back the sheet. It's a glider. And it's got a duck on it, nice. Inside is a white streamlined aircraft. Kotori looked at it, dazed. I say wow as I let out a small surprised sound. As I let a small surprised sound slip out.
これ、もしかしてグライダー? ああ、そうだ。
Amane nodded and Kotori cautiously moved her hand closer to the aircraft. Even in the dimly lit garage, the glider's white body had a glossy shine to it. It faintly reflected Kotori's face. I moved towards it to take a closer look. Is this the one we saw from Windmill Hill?
多分そう。
The smooth surface looked like it was made from plastic. However, it is hard to touch. The wings had been removed, and for now it was just the body.
コックピットはこんな風になってるんだ。
This is amazing. We started talking to each other at some point, but then finally realized who it was we were talking to. Hey, why were you running away just now? She calmly ignores my question, but then hurriedly tries to escape, so I gotta head to block her. I won't let you get away. Why did you come here for? You're not here to eat lunch, are you?
意地悪なやつが校門で見張ってたからここに隠れてたのよ。
So she really was trying to leave early.
知り合いかい?
Amane was listening carefully to our conversation. Amane was wolfing down a Neapolitan pasta lunchbox, and Kotori and I both had a face that seemed to say whoa, and looked on in amazement. Why would we say whoa?
なんでかな。美人にこういうことされるとすごいがっかりする。
Oh. She didn't know that when she was eating ice cream like a crazy idiot, I had the same reaction when I was watching her. By the way, the thing that Amane was eating was in the lunchbox that I had brought. As usual, the porters hadn't eaten their breakfast I had made for them, so I packed it as my lunch. I had made 2 lunchboxes. One was for me, and the other one... As for the other one, I thought that if Kotori was going to school, she might have found it difficult at lunchtime, so I was worried about her and brought another lunchbox. That's why I was chasing her. She didn't eat it. I thought I might eat them both myself, but she ran away before I could ask her.
でも、いいのか? 君のお弁当全部食べてしまって。
Asked Amane, although she had already eaten most of it before asking. I've already eaten my one. I was hungry during the morning recess, so I had lunch early. Relieved to hear my answer, Amane continues to enjoy the cold Neapolitan pasta.
おいしいな。ちゃんとしたご飯を食べるのは久しぶりだ。
Didn't you have anything to eat after I saw you yesterday? I only gave her one piece of bread. Amane stopped moving her chopsticks and took a good look at my face.
もしかして君は昨日パンをくれた人か?
You've only just realized?
いやー、昨日は集中していたからな。
She really is weird.
そうか、君は2度も私を救ってくれたのか。
She looked at me with eyes that sparkled like a little kid's. If she were a dog, her tail would definitely be wagging like crazy.
君からパンをもらったのが約20時間前で、それ以前に遡るなら、
What?
最後に食事をとったのはおよそ70時間前になる。
I counted on my fingers. There are 24 hours in a day. That's 3 days ago.
太陽圏の豚骨ラーメン全部のせを食べた。スープが濃厚で美味しかった。
She recalls this and her face looks like she's about to start drooling. Why don't you eat? Are you on a diet?
忘れていた。
Huh?
考え事をしていると他のことをよく忘れるんだ。私はバカだからな。
Amane replied with pride. I preferred it if she didn't compare it to when people forget things. Because they're hungry.
ここでグライダーを作っているんですか? ああ。
Are you doing that here?
ソアリング部の部室兼ガレージだが。
Soaring Club. I wasn't familiar with that name. What's soaring?
上昇気流に乗ってグライダーで飛ぶことをソアリングと言うんだ。
Flying on a glider by riding the rising air currents. I kind of get it, but on the other hand I don't get it. So the aim of the club is to make and fly a glider?
そういうことになるな。
So this garage is used for club activities after all. Even so, it's pretty spacious.
グライダーって飛行機みたいなものなんでしょ？自分で作れるものなの？ああ、作れるさ。それが人工物である以上、人に作れないものはないはずだわ。
I have a feeling that's not what she's asking. However, Amane answered the question in all seriousness.
どうやって作るの？そうだな。それを説明するなら実際に作ってみた方が早い。
Hold on a moment, I said as Amane slipped up the last of the Neapolitan with extremely bad manners. Wiping around her mouth with a tissue, she started rummaging through her desk drawer.
あれはどこに行ったかな。
Peeking inside the drawer, somehow I get the impression that Amane is a typical disorganized person. Rather than things being put away, it was more like they were being stuffed in.
あったあった。これだ。
The thing that Amane had taken out was a paper airplane construction kit made using cardboard.
さあ、作ってみてくれ。
Without thinking, Katori and I just looked at each other. I feel that manufacturing a glider and making a paper airplane are completely different things. But for now, I'll try doing as she says. Using glue and a craft knife, in about 10 minutes, we had finished the paper plane.
できたわ。
All done. Amane takes the plane that Katori made and takes a good look. Then she threw it. The paper airplane floated gently as it flew and landed near the wall on the other side of the garage.
綺麗にまっすぐ飛んだ。いい機体だ。
Katori seems embarrassed at being complimented.
飛行機にはいろんな種類がある。ジャンボジェットや小型セスナ、戦闘機、そして今投げた紙飛行機。それらはみんな同じ原理で飛ぶんだ。
Paper airplanes and jumbo jets are the same.
ああ、原理は同じ。翼を使って空気に浮かび飛行する。
Katori and I both tilted our heads in puzzlement. We both had a skeptical look on our faces. I can understand that a light paper airplane can fly by riding the wind, but it's hard to imagine that a giant hunk of metal can float in the sky on the same principle. There must be some other method that allows it to fly. Amane goes to pick up the paper airplane that she had just thrown.
これをよく見てほしい。君たちが知っている飛行機とこの紙飛行機、違いはどこにある？
The size and the material?
人が乗るかどうかも違うわ。そうだな。あとはエンジンがあるかないかくらいか。逆に言えばその他は同じだ。そこに飛行の原理がある。一般的な飛行機はだいたいこれと同じパーツからできている。まずは胴体、次に主翼、水平尾翼、垂直尾翼。多少突飛な形状をした飛行機でもだいたい同じパーツか、あるいは同じ役割をする別のパーツによって構成されている。
When she puts it like that, I guess she's right. I never paid that much attention to it though.
ところで飛行機がなぜ空気に浮くのか知っているかい？揚力があるからよ。そうだ。揚力とは流体の中にある翼に働く力のうち、流れの方向に対して垂直な成分のことを言う。
I look baffled again, and Amane smiles a little and rephrases it.
つまり空気が翼を浮き上がらせようとする力のことだ。揚力はここ主翼によって生み出される。翼に前から風が当たると空気は翼の上と下に分かれて流れていくことになる。
I can just imagine the wings cutting the air like a blade.
この時翼の上側と下側で気流の速度に差が生じると流れの速い側の圧力が下がるんだ。ベル縫いの定理ね。
Amane nods. Standing beside her, I'm a little freaked out as she so easily comes out with a word like Bernoulli. What the hell is that? It's a guy's name.
授業で習ったでしょ。
We didn't learn that in my school. Maybe.
だから飛行機の翼は上面の空気が速く流れるよう設計されている。上面側の圧力を下げるためだ。そうすることで相対的に下面の圧力が高まり、空気が翼を持ち上げようとするんだ。
The air lifts the wings up. It's a phenomenon that's hard to suddenly imagine. So that's Bernoulli's theorem. Amane nodded as if to say yes.
それともう一つ、翼の上面を流れた空気は翼面によって下へ曲げられ後方に吹き下ろしを生じさせる。
As she explains, Amane is drawing a cross-section of a wing. According to that, an airplane's wing are flat at the bottom and the top is shaped like a mountain, so it seems like it's semicircular. Apparently the air on the upper side flows along the raised curved surface, and then bends to flow downwards. As for the question of why the air flows along the raised surface, it can only be said that this is because of the nature of air. Or so it would seem.
この吹き下ろしはニュートンの第三法則によって同じだけの反作用を翼に与え上方に持ち上げようとする。
The reaction lifts up the wing.
重たいバスケットボールを地面に叩きつけようとしたら体がふわーっと浮く感じがするでしょ。それと同じことよ。
Does that mean that when the wing drops in the air, the reaction causes it to float?
それら揚力が機体の重量を上回った時、飛行機は空を飛ぶことができる。たとえそれが総重量数百トンに及ぶジャンボ旅客機でもね。
Theoretically, that may be so, but I still couldn't imagine enough lift to cause a several hundred-ton airplane to take off could be created. However, airplanes do actually fly in the sky.
揚力を生み出してくれるこの主翼は飛行機が空に浮かぶために必要なパーツというわけだ。
I don't know if I understand or not. However, I understood that the main wings are the most important part.
次に尾翼だが、垂直と水平と2つある。これらは空中で機体の姿勢を安定させるためについている。飛行機は空中に浮いているから 地面に立つ我々よりもいつだって不安定なんだ。まっすぐ上を向いてるのが垂直尾翼、横方向の動きを安定させる。主翼と同じ向きに横に伸びているのが水平尾翼、こっちは縦の動き、つまり頭の上げ下げを安定させてくれる。これがないと紙飛行機もまっすぐには飛んでくれない。
I see. So that's why they have small wings on the tail.
そしてボディ、ここは飛ぶこととは直接関係がないな。
But if you don't have this, there's nowhere else to attach the wings.
以上が飛行機の基本形。これはずーっと昔、ライト兄弟の時代から変わらない。
Since that long ago. But the Wright brothers were the first people in the world to fly a plane, right? So nothing has changed since the very first one was made?
ライト兄弟は動力を積んだ飛行機で飛んだ最初の人たちだ。グライダーはそれ以前から飛んでいたぞ。
Yeah, I guess so. I always thought that the Wright brothers were the first to fly.
翼の役割を知りたければこの紙飛行機で試してみるといい。例えばそうだな、垂直尾翼を少し曲げて、それ。
The plane that Amane threw curved gently as it flew.
さらに主翼のここの部分を少し曲げれば。
She bent the left and right main wings so that they were twisted at the back. This time the plane twisted as it flew. Hey, that's pretty interesting. Seeing this, Katori started to adjust the tailplane on her own paper airplane.
見てて。
Full of confidence, Katori threw her paper airplane. Whoa.
Oh.
It did a beautiful loop the loop before landing. That's cool, it did a loop the loop.
面白い、この紙飛行機。
Katori and I both get really engrossed in adjusting the wings and playing around. Sometimes the paper airplanes displayed some mid-air aerobatics. And other times it didn't fly at all and crashed into the ground. However, by trying it for ourselves, we were able to get a real understanding of the role of its wings. By just changing the shape of the wings a little, you can make it fly in many different ways.
実際の飛行機には補助翼などの小さな翼がついている。それらを調節することで機体を操作するんだ。
As she explained, Amane moved to the side of the garage. Then she lovingly laid her hand on the glider.
このグライダーにはエンジンはついていない。紙飛行機を大きく頑丈にしてコックピットを取り付けただけのものなんだ。
Katori and I looked at the paper airplanes in our hands. Imagine riding it and flying through the sky. This is just like the fantasies I'd envisioned as a kid. The glider in front of me was the real thing.
どうだ？作れそうな気がしてきただろ？
But it doesn't have an engine. How does it fly? Paper airplanes can thrust by being thrown by people.
風に乗って飛ぶんだ。
Both I and Katori gazed at the white aircraft. That day, we saw this flying from Windmill Hill. Riding the wind, that expression expresses it so perfectly. The way it flew so smoothly and calmly.
風に乗って。
Amane nods happily.
そして上昇気流に乗ってどこまでも舞い上がる。どこまでも？ああ、雲の上にだって行けるんだぞ。雲の上？
Oops. Katori looked at the aircraft with an expression of disbelief. I also couldn't imagine that this thing flying above the clouds. Have you been there, above the clouds?
それがな。
Suddenly her mood drops.
組み上がったのがついこの間で、ようやくテストフライトにこぎつけたんだが。あの時だ。
Katori and I react by exchanging glances.
強度が足りなかったみたいで、途中で主翼が折れてしまった。
Ooh. So you mean?
危ないところだった。もし完全に折れていたら湖に落ちて死んでいたかもな。
She laughed as she spoke.
また作り直さないといけない。私は手先があまり器用じゃないからな。それと一部のケーキが故障してるのも分かったんだが、代わりの部品が手に入らなくて困って。自分で作っちゃえばいいんじゃないの？
Katori said that so easily. At a school where things like this are taught, they have all the equipment you need to make anything, from a screw to an aircraft.
そうもいかなくてな。
Amane, with the troubled look on her face, took some broken parts from a drawer.
ダイヤフラムといって大気速度計に組み込まれている部品なんだが、特注品でこれを作った工場がとっくの昔に潰れてしまっているんだ。
Katori and I gazed at the parts on the palm of Amane's hand. Certainly it looks like it wouldn't be easy to make. If it's the kind of thing that can be made in the town's factory, then there might be something that can be done about it. Amane's eyes light up as I quietly mumble.
本当か？
Well, I don't know until I ask, but I know someone like that.
頼む。それがないと本当に困るんだ。
Okay, I'll try and ask next time I see him. Can I borrow this?
ありがとう。君に救われるのはこれで3度目だ。
Whoosh. Whoa. Suddenly she gives me a full-on hug, and we're even cheek to cheek.
ありがとう。ありがとう。
You can thank me once I've actually got it.
そういえばそうだったな。でもご飯のお礼も兼ねているんだ。だからもう一回感謝の気持ちを表させてくれ。
No, that's enough, seriously.
そうか。
Katori was sullenly glaring at me. I wonder if this will really fly. Katori and I both gazed at the glider with the same look on our faces.
ところで君たち、もしグライダーに興味があるのなら、その
The bell rings, interrupting Amane. Amane flinches in surprise and quickly turns her back to us. If we're interested, what is it?
いや、いいんだ。忘れてくれ。
Somehow it seems like she's avoiding something. Amane?
なんだ？
Can I come and see you again?
ああ、もちろんだ。興味があるならいつでも来てくれ。
I have to bring her those parts as well.
君もまた見に来てくれ。
As Katori nods, Amane grins as she nods back. She's really beautiful, but her smile somehow makes her look like a little kid. Alright, shall we go back to the classroom? I started pushing Katori's wheelchair and decided to start walking.
どこ連れて行く気？
The classroom, of course.
やだ、やめて。私お腹空いてるの。お昼食べてないから。
Her pupils shrunk. You reap what you sow.
やだってもう。押さないで。
I brought Katori with me against her wishes, and we returned to the classroom.
Aoi!
I went back to the dormitory and someone called out to me when I was at the gate.
Aoi.
An-chan. When I saw who it was, my level of enthusiasm went up by 500%. Standing there was An-chan. Chan. I was thinking about going to see you tomorrow or someone.
お前に早く会いたくて仕事抜けてきちまった。久しぶりだな、Aoi.
An-chan ruffles my hair. Hey, stop that, will you? Completely ignoring my attempts to resist, An-chan gives me a noogie, grinding my hair round and round. I think that my hair is probably messed up pretty badly now. This is Tetsuya Igarashi, commonly known as An-chan. He's a childhood friend of Geha and mine and is like a real big brother to us. He's much older than us. We used to play together a lot as kids. Jeez, you're messing up my hair.
悪い。昔を思い出してついな。
You haven't changed either, An-chan. Still the same as before.
おいおい、それ褒め言葉じゃないぞ。
Oh, isn't it?
そうさ。人は人どころに停滞してちゃいけない。 変わっていくもんだ。
What Anchan says is true. But to me, I'd rather say Anchan just stays the same as he is now. As I think about that, Anchan all of a sudden has a kind look on his face.
足、もういいのか?
Yeah, well, enough for everyday life.
そうか。大変だったな。
It's no big deal. I can have a normal life like this. On top of that, I had you there to watch me in the race when I tried the hardest.
あれはいいレースだったな。表彰台に乗ったお前、かっこよかったぞ。
I came in third though. In my previous school, I was in the cycle racing club. In the final race of the first grade, I was able to take third place spot on the podium. It was my best result. For that race, Anchan traveled a long way to come and watch me.
3位でも立派だ。
Yeah. Because of Anchan's kindness, I felt a little tearful. He sensed how I was feeling and started to mess up my hair again. This time it wasn't so rough.
今はここの寮母をやってるんだってな。
Yeah.
飛び魚はそうか。懐かしいな。
We used to play here a lot. We would come sneaking in.
ああ、そうだったな。
That wasn't what Anchan was talking about just now.
ところで、あの子もここの寮生か?
Someone was hiding in the shadow of the gate. Katori looked like she couldn't get past because Anchan and I were in the way. She could have just spoke to us normally, but instead she was hiding and watching us.
こんにちは、お嬢さん。
こんにちは。
Katori was still being cautious, but returned the greeting. Then we got out of her way, then went into her composed mode, and entered the dormitory.
あの子、ここの子だったのか。
You know her?
ああ、時々街で見かける。うちの工場の近くにでかい犬がいるだろう。
Pedigree? There's a big dog that goes by that name. I'm sure it was the Saint Bernard.
昨日はペディグリーの近くをうろうろしてたな。
Was she by any chance trying to stroke its head?
ああ、そんな感じだった。食い物をあげたりしてたんだが、あの犬、飼い主の餌以外食べないからな。
As I thought. That was in the things I want to do list. Stroke the head of the big dog in the neighborhood. It's really scary, but it might be unexpectedly friendly. If possible, I'd like to ride around on his back. So she was skipping school to go and do things like that? Well, I'll forget about Katori for now.
とにかく、おかえり、葵。
It's good to be back, Anchan. I seemed a little embarrassed as I answered, and Anchan grinned at me.
困ったことがあったら遠慮なく頼れ。俺はお前らのアンちゃんなんだからな。
Parting with those words, Anchan turned to leave. Oh, that's right, Anchan. I know this is a bit soon, but I have a favor to ask. I took the parts that Amane had left with me out of my bag. Along with it was a memo with the dimensions and so on written down. I need some parts the same as these. Would you be able to get one? Anchan's family runs a factory. It's known as the Town Factory and seems that they manufacture special order-made parts. Anchan works there right now. If Anchan can't do it, he might be able to use his connections with other engineers to introduce me to other factories. Anchan looks at the broken parts in the memo.
ダイヤフラムか。ああ、いいぞ。
He quickly answered.
手に入ったら連絡する。
Thanks, Anchan.
いいって。
Anchan raised one hand and turned to leave. Thanks to the fact that I was able to meet Anchan, I went back to my room in a good mood. That's a nice room. I put my hand on the saddle of the bicycle in the corner of my room. I'm proud to have been able to stand on the podium in front of a buddy like Anchan.
高そうな自転車ね。
Before I realized, Katori was next to me. What are you doing here?
さっき一緒に入ってきたの。気づいてなかったの？
I hadn't realized. Do you want something? Without answering my question, Katori opened a drawer in the desk.
ここね。違った。こっちかしら。
Oh, she's looking for the thing. She's gonna find it. Looks like she's searching for something.
ない。おかしい。 絶対持ってるはずなのに。
There was nothing that I didn't want her to see, so I was unfazed when I questioned her. What are you doing?
探し物よ。見てわかるでしょ。
I know, but shouldn't you at least get the consent of the owner of the room?
あなたこそ早く返しなさいよ。持ってるの分かってるのよ。
God, what?
だから。
Apparently she was looking for the withdrawal notice that I had picked up before. I don't know what you're looking for, but I don't think it's in here.
言い方が怪しい。絶対持ってるに違いないんだから。
Did you say something?
別に。
Seems like your search had come to a stop. However, Katori isn't leaving the room and continues looking around the room.
私、男の子の部屋に入るなんて初めて。結構片付いてるのね。もっとゴミためみたいなのを想像してた。
I don't have that many things. Thanks to that, moving house was easy. Katori was staring straight at the bike, which gave off a unique presence in my room.
あなた、足どうかしたの？
I panicked at being asked so frankly. It's no big deal. Looks like she was listening to my conversation with Anchan. I just had a bit of an injury. Well, look, it's fine now. I lightly swung my leg to shore.
転校してきたのはその怪我のせいなの？
It's fine, really. Why do you ask?
別になんとなく。
There's no need for you to worry about it.
誰が心配なんてしたのよ。してません。1ミリたりともしてません。じゃあね、時間の無駄だったわ。
Katori made a straight face and goes back to her room. You're going again tomorrow, aren't you?
Huh?
To the garage at lunch. I'm not going, is what it felt like she was going to say.
行くわよ。
She answered, and she panicked as she left my room. Looks like I should make 3 lunchboxes this time. Is that today ending? I think it is. Maybe. Yes?